Well, hello, everybody. Infinity, Ed, David, Philip, Lisa, welcome. Larry, Alan, Sergio, Cliff. If you want to talk to me like all these fine folks, click the link right over here, right down where the monster is, and be a subscriber on the channel. That way you can say, hey, hi, let's see. Making a Lisa guessing NVIDIA. There is a crowded trade. The Fund Manager Survey by Bank of America. That's fund. Kimberly was asking me last night. She was like, "Fund manager? What is that? Like bars? Are they surveying like people that do fun things?" I was like, "No, fund, FUND. People that manage money." Anyway, it was a funny conversation. And anyway, so anybody have a guess? Lisa threw her guess in. Anybody else have a guess? I mean, look at Bitcoin. Ooh, baby. What do you think is the crowded trade right now? Let me know in the chat. We'll get back to it in a second. Give everybody a chance to jump in with their opinion. And, well, it is a morning already. morning. And let me share the screen. There we go. Check it out. We have, today is Wednesday. Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you remember to get something for your significant other, whether it be flowers or candies or jewelries or whatever it is you like to do. Since it's also Ash Wednesday, we went out to dinner last night because going out on Ash Wednesday makes it a little more difficult unless we're going to a seafood place or something like that. Anyway, we got Barrick Gold reporting for the open today. CME, Kraft Heinz, and we had these guys over here: Airbnb, Upstart, Robinhood, Lyft, and Zillow Group down here was popping on the list. So after the close today, here's the list: Amble Marble, Twilio, Oxy, Cisco, Fastly, HubSpot, Upwork, and before the open tomorrow, we'll have these fine companies over here. And Coinbase coming in on Thursday after the close. And we do have some economic news tomorrow, too. So there's that Wendy's. Get those Wall Street bets, kids, working at Wendy's. Anyway. So looks like we got a few guesses. Looks like we got SMCI SPY. It's not a particular ticker, actually. Well, you might say that. Let me pull it up and grab I closed the freaking... Of course I did that, right? I closed the image I was going to use. And we'll drop it over here and look what we got. Oop, click on the right one. Magnificent 7. Come on. Magnificent 7. Make it bigger. Make it bigger. Make it bigger. Right there. This is a fund manager survey. Long Magnificent 7. This was in December, the survey. This was January, the lighter blue, and the purpley blue on the top, 61%. Say that Magnificent 7 is a little bit of a crowded trade. Short China is coming up at number 2, but only 25%. This is usually, not necessarily, but usually indicative. I say that word right, indicative, that we're getting near the top in this trade. A lot of times when look at that one really popping. When the fund managers feel like that trade is crowded, a lot of times we see a giant pullback. I mean, like wicked giant as money bails. This is it can rotate into all sorts of other things. It doesn't have to cause a market crash. But when we look at the facts, the S&P 500 has been grinding higher. The QQQ has been grinding higher just on these 7 stocks. So we might see a pullback, and it might be vicious. So I want everybody to be very, very careful. Be very, very, very careful. Anyway, there you go. So that's the most crowded trade out there right now, according to Bank of America's Fund Manager Survey. Who could have guessed, right? Who could have guessed? A few of you guessed NVIDIA. SMCI went in there. That's mom and dad. You know, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, Amazon, Google, NVIDIA, Tesla. Tesla's kind of like the laggard of all those. So Apple's not doing so hot either. So this is definitely getting a little bit on the overcooked side right here. So that leaves Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Google, NVIDIA. And NVIDIA has added the value of Tesla just since October, which is just straight freaking crazy because what did they... It's not like they introduced a new product or anything. I mean, that's just nuts. I mean, think about it for a second. Think about it. NVIDIA has added the value, the entire company value of Tesla just since October, or since November, I guess. It's getting ridiculous, ludicrous, whatever you want to say. I say be careful. Anyway, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Keep it in mind. Think about it. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here, intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining, is not a recommendation to buy or sell anything at all. Don't buy stuff from gurus. Don't buy stuff from me if you don't trust me. Don't buy stocks. Don't buy options. Don't buy bonds. Don't buy Forex. Don't buy futures. Don't buy cryptos. Don't buy them. Don't long them. Don't short them. Don't trade them. Because all trading has a substantial risk of loss. The first statement there. And if you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. That's not me. I'm not trying to advise you to do anything except be freaking careful. Nobody's watching out for your money like you. All right? Not even me. I'm trying to watch out for you. Trying to give you advice. And you being the royal you, all of you, please be careful. All 100 and almost 50 of you watching the stream right now, be careful. If you're watching this later, you can leave me a comment down below. If you're not able to participate in the chat, welcome. If you're new here, I love to see, I've had several people tell me they're new lately. The channel getting a lot of subscribers. We're adding a lot lately. Let me know you're new. Give me a shout out. I'd love to see it. Love to hear from you. Love to interact with you. So moving on. This one coming up tomorrow. Today we had not a lot hitting, as you can see. But tomorrow, on Thursday, the 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, we have core retail sales, Empire State, retail sales, unemployment claims, Philly Fed, manufacturing index. And then on Friday, we get the PPI numbers, core PPI, building permits, that sort of stuff. So housing starts. And after the market opens, we get consumer sentiment and inflation expectations by University of Michigan. So, alrighty. Yeah. Well, Dave Thomas famously opened a restaurant here in Knoxville called Regus before he started Wendy's, or as he was starting Wendy's. And Dave Thomas no longer around with us. And Regus no longer around with us. Interesting. All right. S&P did a nice drop yesterday, but not getting continuation so far. We're not. And let's look at the micro time frame. Let's jump down, check it out. What do we need to be aware of? Well, first off, roadmap line. So this right here is the first test that we've had since yesterday, about 2 in the morning, Eastern time. And look, that was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. That was a good solid 5 down. What do we expect here? Probably a retrace. Now, why do I use ES? This is S&P 500 futures. Why do I use that instead of the SPX? Well, check it out. We just have a big gap down. There's a lot of missing data here. So using ES because it fills in the gap. All right. We go off the high. We go down to the low. We have a resistance zone right here. We have moved up in kind of a sloppy fashion. It could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be, and since it's sloppy, doesn't look very proportional. That might be a corrective A type wave. For those of you Elliott wave people that are with me, understand a little bit of that. So what we may see right now, if we hold this roadmap line, we might see this. We may spend all day kind of doing this, and it may happen in if it does that, it's going to happen in a 3-wave E move. So it'll be like something like this, something like this, and then something like this. Probably down in that zone. Somewhere down here. And then we'll probably see a pop up into this zone. That zone could come on up here. Like that. And then if we do that in a 3-wave fashion, hold this resistance box right here. It sets it up. Since this is a 5-wave down, we don't know if this was in a wave 1 or an A wave. It looks kind of like a wave 1, but we don't know until we get the next move. Now, the next move, what would that look like? Right? We've gotten the first move down. Could just draw it with a line tool. We get the retrace. Just assume we stop at the 618 right there. So this 50-20 area, pretty key. 50-40 is like, if we get above that, we're probably going on up. And we'll talk about that in 1 second, where the targets will be. This, if it's corrective and we're going higher, we'll stop in this zone right here. If we're going on down, that's 48.50, 48.87. If we're going to get continuation lower, we'll probably come on down to this level. I'm very serious right now because this is very crystal clear. All right, I traded for this move up last night and already booked my profit out, kind of expecting this to happen. I may load up again, take another chunk out of it. I'm actually trading options on ES, which you can trade them almost 24/7. Well, 23/5. The market closes from 5 p.m. on Friday until 6 p.m. on Sunday. So I like those ES options. I already booked mine out at about 8 o'clock this morning. Made about $2,000 on that pop. Well, $1,800 on the pop. Had 2 contracts going. May get a retrace. Not trading for that. And then if we do here, I'll probably trade for that. And then I've already got a position on to take advantage of this. Now, if we come down to this 48 area here, we'll probably do another retrace, something back like this, and then we'll get another move down. Probably taking us on down to probably near that level where we made the high from 21, 22. Oh, look at that BITQ. Rocking it, baby. Target up there, 16, maybe 19 on BITQ. That's a roadmap line bounce right there. Just firing off the potential entry on that baby. Looking for 15 and 16 and 17. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, what was the other alert there? Hood. Yeah. That one needs to come on up above 12. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it is on up above 1250. Pushing out to 14, possibly 15, 16. Maybe even up here to 18 on this move. Nice. Nice, nice. I do have a few hundred shares of Hood, selling calls against it, and that looks pretty good. All right, moving on. I've had those calls for a couple years, so I mean, not calls. Had those shares for a couple years now. So if you're like, JT, when did you buy those shares? Yeah, way back over here. Way back over here. Had them for a while. All right. Zillow crossing 60. There it goes. 60. Possibly 62. Watch the upside. Alerts firing off like crazy. Pew, pew, pew. Now, S5FI. This is cautionary tale here. We may, not sure, but we may see this rally a little bit today before we drop on down. I still think we're coming down near the bottom. That's almost always what we do before we, after we have been out the top, we usually come down at least near the bottom, if not poke out the bottom. And you see, we may do one of these. We dipped down, we came back up, and then we went down. All right, just throwing that out there. Throwing that out there as a possibility. In Q, jump down the time frame right here. Talk about it. It looks a lot like ES, just a little crazier. The move's a little more volatility. We do have that resistance zone right up in here. Came up right to the roadmap line. This one came up shy. If that potentially, now here's the potential though. This is why I'm not trading for the downside. This could be all of the three-wave move, and we could just plummet out. So you got to be very careful here. That's why I do have the short on for going lower already. If we start breaking down below this support zone, we're just going on down, and it could accelerate quite a bit. So there you go. That's the support zone. That's the target on the upside. If we get above here, we're probably coming on up. I didn't talk about that on ES. If we get above here, 5100 on ES, and that 5150 target up there, still sitting there. And that target exists across S&P and ES, even though they have a bit of a difference between the prices. Alrighty. No, we didn't get a 2% correction. So that was not a 2, that was only like 1.4% down yesterday. Crazy, right? Look at that. Well, S&P shows 2% right there, but the actual S&P yesterday was not showing 2%. It was only showing 1 point. By the close, we were only showing 1.4 or something. Yeah, 1.4. So high to low, it cracked 2%, 2.5, barely. But I don't think this is done yet, so be careful. Russell, definitely not indicating we're done yet, although we'll probably get that 618 retrace, similar in setup to what we had. I mean, look, it's almost the same pattern, except we never even visited that 15-minute. We just plummeted out here. So it went from the high to the low. That retrace right here probably take us back up somewhere in this vicinity right here. We may pop it before we drop it. And that one looks pretty vicious there. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 3 had, this is very impulsive in nature. This is looking corrective. The downside is not done on Russell. We may see some upside move today, and it may be lackluster all day, and it may continue into tomorrow. Then we may get bigger downside again. So watch out for that. If you're like, how do you trade RTY? You know, there's no RT. It's just IWM right here is the ETF. So we're looking for this return back up here, right around this 199 area, and then we may drop out again. CL. If we break out above that high, game on. 86. It's 83 to 86 area. GC. Looks like we're getting the move on down. We're at the roadmap line at this point. We're right there. We need just, all we need is a little push below that 1983 level. Well, it's a little higher, but somewhere right around that 1983 area. And then we might be done. The bounce can happen. Or we may push on down lower. So that's the kind of defining line here. We could wrap up this correction at any point below that low from back there in December. Bitcoin, look at this baby go. Getting right up near the resistance at 52 area. Are we going to bounce back down after this? Or do we just break out and go higher and go retest the all-time high? All the way up here around 7,000 or 70,000, excuse me. Do we do this or do we just break out and go? That is the question. Ethereum. Well, here we go. Got a lot of catching up to do if it's going to catch up to the levels of Bitcoin. But, you know, doing well here. Go from the high to the high. That resistance probably sitting there around that 2950 area, which just happens to be the 1272 extension of this pullback it did back here from April into October. It never got below the roadmap line, so I never sold the Ethereum I've got. Never sold it. Just sitting there waiting. I am on a lighter load right now. But that can be bullish. And that target's right up there. Right up there. Right around 29.50-ish. Dollar stopped. All right. And the resistance so far, if we start breaking above it, we start breaking above this 105 area, probably come up here to 109. Probably. If we, you know, there is another line of resistance right there. We could push on a little higher and just make it real muddy. It starts tipping the odds that we're going higher. It's like 70% odds once we get up in here that we're going on up here. But that still leaves 30% that we could just turn down anywhere in here and go lower. And that lower probably down here around the mid-90s. MSTR. Oh, yeah, baby. 800 target. Sometimes I get lucky. I've got my order sitting at 900 right now. We may push on all the way up to 1080 on this move. If I get 900, I'm going to be pretty dang happy because I bought it 500, 510. Just, what, a week ago? 2 weeks ago? I mean, people say, oh, you can't make any money trading shares, JT. You got to be in options. I mean, look at that. A few $500 shares and sell them out for 900. I mean, that's 80% gain. I mean, how many times you got to do this stuff before it starts making, before you get enough money in your account, you can do other trades. So pretty sweet right there. SMCI continuing to be ludicrous at 1100 area. It's probably where we're heading. I mean, less than 1% of stuff just goes shooting right off up to that 686 level. That's why I'm skeptical that it's going to happen, but it does occasionally happen. And we're highly likely to stop right there. And then you know what happens? Once we get up there, we usually retrace all the way back to the roadmap line, wherever it is. And at this point, it may be up in here. So that's why I was saying, try and, if we get up there, maybe buy a $700 or $800 put if you can afford it, out as far as you possibly can, because this sucker is probably coming down after we get up there. AVGO. can keep climbing the fib ladder. You know, on up, on up. I do and would expect a bigger pullback, especially if NVIDIA, SMCI, if that Magnificent 7, if they start cracking, we're going to see a wicked pullback across all this stuff that has these crazy exponential moves. ARM included. ARM probably coming back down here. I've got my alert at 80. We may even go lower. I'd watch out for that one for sure. NVIDIA, we're getting toppy here, but that doesn't mean we can't keep climbing the fib ladder. 978, possibly 1100. I mean, it's out there. And the 686 for this one, just ridiculous. It's like way freaking crazy up there. I don't even think I have it turned on. Yeah, I don't even have it turned on. So ridiculous. So ridiculous. There we go. All the way up there at 1750. Could it do it? Sure, it could do it. I mean, compared to SMCI, this one's benign right now. I mean, we're only to the 2618. That's a pretty major resistance, especially when we're talking about a company that's added the value of Tesla just since right here. That's the value of Tesla right here on this chart, from here to here. Isn't that crazy? I think it's crazy. MDB. Crazy stuff tends to not end well. I'm just telling you. I've been around. I've seen a few charts. GME, there's lots of crying still. I mean, you can say it's not GME all you want. It's a ridiculous thing. And the fund manager survey says it's a crowded trade, along with all the other crazy, hyped up, Magnificent 7 trades. MDB hitting that resistance already. That may be due a retrace. Of course, it can keep climbing the fib ladder. 588, 629, 750 on up there, but be careful. We may consolidate here for a little bit. This was, just breaking out of these highs. We have the prior all-time highs right over here. So we may go visit that. Come on, click. There we go. Now, service now. Chopping a little bit, we may get a deeper retrace. Coin. My alert 160 if we're going to break out. Otherwise, this could be, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. This has got me super cautious, and we're just below that 618 right there. If coin turns down, it could take another leg down here. Visit on lower. This is what's got me wide and JT all over coin. Because of that right there. If you want to use the fib tool, 3-point tool, 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, right there. We may retrace deeper on coin. Doesn't have to, but Bitcoin's like ripping up here. Coinbase kind of doing a corrective retrace here. Just be careful. Can we break out and go? Sure. 250 on the upside, 270, 260, 270. But I'm not feeling it yet. That this correction doesn't look done to me. Be very careful. IQV. Nice little pop. Right up to the resistance. This is health related. I would fit it in the category of biotech, medtech, all that stuff tech, and which means JT is not going to trade it. And that is a sideways, choppy, hot piece of garbage. It's not dumpster fire, but it's like chop you out. I think that's a blender right there. FNGU. 357. Next upside. That's leverage right there. Be careful on leverage. Rip you out. CDNS. Chabin. A lot of these things starting to get that volatility. And we'll talk about VIX here before I wrap up. If you remember, remind me. And remember, if I say anything you like, give me a like on the video. Anything you like, anything helpful, anything beneficial, anything new. PSN. Just being ridiculous. The last big fair correction all the way back here. We're right up to that 3618. We don't see these extension targets very often. 100 would be the 686. Like I said, less than 1% of the time do we just go shooting right up there. And it's getting crazy. CrowdStrike probably going to hit this 350, if not the 420 level. Netflix sitting there at the 1618. Yeah, this is, so I traded this one, bought in 400, got out at 550, wherever that was, right there. And it hadn't really done anything because it's the 1618 right there. I'm telling you, these are key resistance levels. I would expect this to retrace again before we head on up to retest the all-time highs. Next resistance up there at 700. Well, we may need a retrace, and that would be another opportunity to get in if the market does the pullback thing that I'm talking about, that we certainly need. A bigger, deeper flush out, maybe a 10-15% correction may give you an opportunity to buy back in around 460. Then that'd be a pretty fair trade going 460 to 700. Just watch out. All right, be careful. Make your plan. Put your alerts out here. Be like, if Netflix comes down to 480, I'm kind of interested in it. So put your alert out there. Maybe it's the breakout level at 485. DTSS. Hot pile of dumpster fire right there. That's got all the makings. The reverse split. Did the reverse split back here. It's got the crap chart. It's doing the stupid pop. This is a dumpster fire. Be careful. Meme stock, if you will. Meta. There's the four choices. We're either going to pop the 1618. We're going to turn sideways and then pop the 1618. Pull back to this breakout level. Then pop the 1618. Or we fail and come on down deeper. So there's the four paths. Which one's the most likely? There's not one most likely. That's the problem. The high probability trade is done on Meta for now. You can argue all you want. For me, it's done. We're only like 35% likely to get up here, no matter which three paths we take. You could say that leaves us like 65% likely to go down. No, we could just chop in here until we hit the roadmap line. So, 35 to 40% chance we go up here. It's not, that doesn't automatically make it like 60% likely we go down here. It's 60% likely we hit the roadmap line, and that could be, who knows where that would occur at this point. It depends on how long it chops around. We could chop around in here, something like that, and until we hit it right over here, and then it resets the whole thing. We could go on a little bit deeper retrace before, there's no telling what it does exactly. We don't know. There's no high probability setup. So that's why when I book these, I stay out of the way. And I didn't trade Meta. It didn't look as clean or nice as some of the other ones I have traded, like ASML and Netflix and Tesla. So Uber popped the 3618. Whew. Goodness gracious. These things are getting crazy. We have the bigger pullback target right up here, the 1272 at 8360. Maybe on a path to 8360. And we could go way crazy ludicrous levels, but I really would feel more comfortable doing that with a bit of a retrace in here. But so far we're not doing it. Not doing it. So just be careful. Be freaking careful, because this is getting crazy in here. At 1272 and 89 up there, along with 83. Watch for that level. ENGN. Makings of a dumpster fire. That's biotech for you. Don't trade biotech. CCG. Look. Look. Crazy pop. And right back down, $5. I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be something you never heard of. It can be Nvidia. Nvidia's probably not going to $5. It's probably going back to like $400 or $500, $600. But you got to be careful at these things. WCC, getting close. If we break down below that line, probably going lower. LABU is the biotech, leveraged. Not only is this biotech, it's also leveraged. So you got biotech, and then you also got the leverage one, which I just goofed up my thing. There we go. Zill Group. Ooh, popping. Now we might drop. Interesting. So we popped the 1272, retrace to the breakout. We could do that. But if we break back down, probably coming down here. Ain't it? Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, bum. Roadmap line will be where I expect. Can it keep doing this crazy stuff? Sure. But watch out for that. Mara. Oh, yeah, baby. 35 upside target. 35. 41. Then we'll see what happens. Could it keep going? Sure. And we've got crazy targets on up here. 52, 58, 74, 84, 686, all the way up here at ridiculous levels. Unseen, unheard of. Ridiculous levels. Wonder, that's so weird. $128. Fits with the bigger targets. Just watch out. If Bitcoin gets really crazy, that thing's going to rip. FSLR. Stuck below the roadmap line. Even though it's popping a little bit today, that still looks like a dangerous chart. Dash. Find a resistance at the 272. Snow. Hasn't quite made it to the 1272 up here. 240. Possibly up to 275. EMPH. Still find a resistance at the roadmap line. It's chopping there. That's a lower high at the roadmap line. Watch out for a breakdown. We get below this prior low. Probably going to extensions lower 50, 58 area down here. EETH, ProShares Trust for Ethereum. Breaking out, baby. Breaking out. Don't have enough history to do all the charting, but 66 and 70 on the upside. Pretty substantial increase. USD, ProShares Ultra Semiconductors, 85 on the upside. COGT. Biotech, be careful. Big red flags. Popping, and look at that gap down. Gap up. Watch out below. Lyft there was a typo in the earnings announcement, and it created a crazy move in the overnight. Let's see. I've got to jump down a time frame. Look at this right here. Look at that. Look at that pop. There was a typo, and the algos went nuts, and then gave it all back. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so Lyft, big winner. I mean, look, it went from $11 to $16. I mean, overnight it went up to 20. That's like a double. Pretty crazy for Lyft. BITX. Yep, there we go. Popping on out. And let's just clean this up. Don't have enough for a roadmap line. 33, 37 on the upside. Watch for the pullback. This was pretty accurate back here. BITQ. That was firing off alerts when I got started. 15, 17, 15, 16, 17 on the upside. Watch those levels. And AMAT. Watch out. This may be topping out. This was a head and shoulders pattern off of this pattern right back here. we're getting near the end, and we may retrace back to the roadmap line. Decliners, QDEL. Ouch. There's biotech, medtech for you. Not a dumpster fire yet, but it might turn into one. GNRC, Generac. Oh, man. That looks like a pretty gnarly chart. Just chopping sideways, dropping right there on earnings. Missed on the top, missed on the bottom, but those are still nice numbers. Still making money, but I guess the home battery business not as rocking and popping as it was back here. We thought the U.S. government was going to give everybody a battery. You get a battery. You get a battery. Everybody gets a battery. Anyway. You get a Tesla. And Airbnb, retracing a little bit on earnings. Ooh. So the street thought they were going to make 65 cents a share. They lost 55 cents a share. That's not too good. That's the kind of bad surprise. And I kind of thought they might retrace, so it's kind of interesting. Just fits in. If it fits, it ships, baby. So at that point, that's the high. Looking for a retrace down to this area right here. And I might actually be interested in that if we get back down there. Might get a long-term position. Because then we could do that. 130 to 180. You make some pretty dang good money if you're in the right options. BL, black line, just looks like choppy sideways garbage. Akamai, probably come back to the roadmap line. Simple as that. Support right here for now. Toyota Motors. Finding the resistance. Trip back to the roadmap line would be what I expect after that. Upstart. Uh-oh. Pushing down below the lows. If we get any kind of continuation, well, it's not going negative, but it certainly doesn't have. It could go down to $7. Groupon. No, that's not Groupon. GRPN. That's just Global Payments. Dum. Groupon still even a thing, or did? Yeah. Just curious. Surprised they haven't gone bankrupt yet. How much money they lose? They lose so much money, and their revenue is not even that big. Not even very good. Estimated to make money? Yeah, we'll see about that. I bet that one disappoints. We'll see. Anyway, GPN, I would expect it to come back. Go, daddy. Kind of expect that one to come back. Everything's kind of lining up for a bigger, deeper retrace in the markets. MGM came back. If we hold 49.51, the entry will be above 45. If we don't hold, come on down. Come on down. Bring it on down. 39. Below that's 30. IMNM. Biotech. Garbage. Looking for 11. There you go. That's the list for the day. Not a ton. Not a ton indeed. And it is 10 o'clock. So S&P still looking for that retrace. I think it's more clear on ES here what we're looking for. And so far, so good. We're getting the retrace down. Watch for that zone. Watch for that support. And we may come up here. And if we do, that's like danger. This can happen very quickly. This could be, this could feel like a crash. I mean, this could go like this in a few hours. That may happen tomorrow. So be careful. VIX. Thanks for reminding me. And so we're retracing it, and we might come right back down here. We're pretty dang close already. What's interesting, this spiked on essentially expiration day, and VIX expired this morning before the market opened. And now we're seeing the retrace. It's funny how that happens a lot on these monthly expirations. I've seen it a time or two. So we may find another bottom somewhere in this vicinity and that may last a day or two before we get into the next move. Next move may take us up to 19, 20, depending on where we get down to here. Depends on where we bottom out. Now, does it have to? No, it can just come back down here and rest. But right now, this is looking like a potential breakout scenario. How long is it going to last? Probably not super long. So there's another potential opportunity brewing on SVXY. VXX this is the index right here. What's the difference? This is the index. VIX is the index. VXX is a derivative. It's an ETF. It has costs, and it's a decaying asset. And it's an iPath. Does that look anything like VIX? No, it looks nothing like VIX because this is a decaying asset. It reverse splits all the time. This is not one you can hold. If you hold it, you're going to lose money. That's a big dumpster fire. All right. It has high management costs too. Where's the numbers? Huh. They don't show the fees on that one. Fees are like stupid on that one too. And it's like UVXY also. Look at that. Reverse splits, 10 for 1, and continues to go to 0. On a percent basis, they just track VIX on the daily. But VIX, look at this. I mean, this is an actual index, and it has never gone below these lows we had right back here in 2017 when the crowded trade was short VIX, shorting VIX daily or weekly. Anytime it popped, you short the crap out of it, and it pushed VIX down to these levels that we had never seen before and probably won't see again in my trader lifetime. And there were articles that declared VIX dead back in December when we did this big drop here. I saw several. It wasn't just one. It was like dozens. VIX is dead. It's never coming back again. Well, watch out. That kind of thinking is very dangerous. Like when we really get some market volatility, we usually hang out here in the 20 to 30 zone. I was expecting a pop for the last couple of weeks up into the 15 to 20 area. We got that yesterday. Now I'm super cautious because we got that pop right up to touch just right at 18. Now we're retracing. My preferred way to play, I will buy VIX calls. I did buy VIX calls. I sold them out yesterday, about 2:30. My preferred way to play is when this gets a 15 to 20% pullback. This is SVXY. This is not a decaying asset. This one's like the opposite of VXX. So as VXX goes to 0, this one makes money on VXX, kind of like on the same thing that takes VXX towards 0. This one constantly makes money. It's shorting VIX. So the problem is, though, when you get a COVID type event and you can drop the freak out very quickly. So that's not what I feel like we have in the market right now. But a 15 to 20% pullback would put us back in this 93 area. And for all the times we've done a 15 to 20% pullback since COVID time, which is 15 of these babies, every time in about the next 30 to 45 days, we've rallied right back up to the price we were before we dropped. So if we get a 15 to 20% pullback in this, somewhere around 93, could be even deeper, could be down in the 80s. I plan on buying a substantial chunk. That was one of the biggest trades I did right there in November. last year, profit-wise, dollar profit-wise per trade or per contract. That was one of the biggest, best trades I did right there. And I didn't even write it up here. I got out right in here. So watch for this pullback again. All right. Set your alerts. Could be a very lucrative trade. Lucrative. All you do is just buy calls, expecting it to come right back up near the high. You know, a couple of these times it didn't quite get all the way back up to the high. So you have to, that's why I book out conservatively. A couple of these came up just shy. But they were very lucrative. Over and over and over. All right. Be careful out there. Remember, the account you save may be your own. Nobody watches out for your money like you do. Don't hire people to watch your money, all right? Unless you trust them. You got to make sure you really, really trust them. Most people just trying to take some of your money and make it their money. They don't care about your money at all. Keep it in mind. Have a great day, everybody. I'll be on Discord, and I'll see you later. I'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel.